What happens when a boy inherits a book that controls spirits and holds the key to their fate? Our story begins with Natsume Takashi sprinting through a forest, chased by a creepy one-eyed monster. Meanwhile, two classmates Atsushi Kitamoto and Satoru Nishimura are casually walking nearby when Takashi suddenly bursts out of the bushes like a wild raccoon. They recognize him as the new transfer student who barely speaks a word at school. When they ask what's going on, Takashi just brushes it off and asks if there's a shrine nearby. One of them points toward the bushes. Without another word, Takashi thanks them and bolts in that direction, leaving the two even more confused about the quiet new kid. Takashi, meanwhile, is running for his life. He's envious of his classmates who can't see the monster chasing him. You see, Takashi has been able to see yokai spirits since he was a kid, and it's been more of a curse than a gift. They love messing with him, especially now that he's moved to the countryside, where they're everywhere. He knows shrines usually keep them away, so that's his destination. Unfortunately, before he can make it, the monster catches him and pins him to a tree. She demands he return her name and even calls him a girl. Another more human-like yokai appears and suggests ripping out his tongue friendly advice. Clearly, Takashi responds by kicking the ghost right in her giant eye, buying himself just enough time to escape and reach the shrine. The ghost screams, the second yokai sulks, and Takashi lives another day. While running, Takashi reflects on how adults used to treat him when he was younger. Some thought he was just a lonely kid seeking attention. Others simply found him unsettling. Then he accidentally trips over a sacred rope that had sealed away a powerful yokai. Classic Takashi luck. A creepy noise starts coming from a tiny shrine, and suddenly, the door creaks open, revealing a fat lucky cat statue. But this one talks, and then blows up the shrine. Yup, definitely not your average cat. Surprisingly, Takashi doesn't run. He's seen weirder. The cat, actually a powerful yokai, mistakes him for someone named Reiko. When he realizes Takashi is a guy, the cat is stunned. Takashi explains that Reiko was his grandmother. The cat softens a bit and mentions that Reiko was lonely too, and had the same ability to see spirits. Then the cat brings up something mysterious, the Book of Friends. When Takashi says he might have it, the cat suddenly vanishes. After his chaotic day with monsters, Natsume comes home looking like he's been through a battle. His adoptive mom, Taoko, notices he looks pale and dirty. She's worried, but Natsume quickly brushes it off and heads to his room, silently promising himself that he'll never tell her about his supernatural abilities. While rummaging through his stuff, he finds that ancient book the talking cat mentioned earlier. He flips through the pages, and despite the strange, otherworldly writing, Natsume can somehow read it. That's when the cat reappears, suddenly demanding the book. It lunges at Natsume, but he manages to dodge, creating a few holes in his closet in the process. Taoko, about to head out for errands, hears the commotion and asks Natsume about it. He quickly reassures her, telling her it's nothing, and she asks him to watch the house while she's gone. Back to the chaos, Natsume tries to patch up the closet and offers the cat some watermelon slices, asking it to leave afterward. But the cat refuses. He wants the book, and, well, he's grateful for being freed. So, he decides to stick around as Natsume's bodyguard and insists on being called Sensei. Natsume, still clueless about how important this book is, starts waving it around carelessly. Nyanko Sensei quickly scolds him for it and explains that the Book of Friends is no ordinary book. It's super powerful and dangerous. Inside it are the names of yokai that Reiko, Natsume's grandmother, defeated. The names are the essence of the yokai, and if the names are destroyed, well, so are the yokai. Just as Natsume is trying to process all this, there's a knock at the door. He answers, and surprise, it's one of the same yokai that was chasing him earlier. In a panic, Natsume grabs the book and runs for his life, with Nyanko Sensei trailing behind. Nyanko Sensei leads him to a bush and assumes that Natsume now understands how dangerous the book is and will hand it over. But much to his surprise, Natsume refuses and won't explain why. This annoys Nyanko Sensei, who then reveals his true form. He's actually a giant white fox. He traps Natsume under his massive paw and demands the book. The pressure becomes unbearable, but Natsume isn't giving in. In a desperate move, he punches Nyanko Sensei. It turns out, the punch was so painful that Nyanko Sensei lets him go. Because, well, even giant foxes have their limits. Natsume finally speaks up, explaining that the Book of Friends is his grandmother Reiko's legacy, her only connection to him. He tells Nyanko Sensei that he wants to return the names, even though Nyanko Sensei is dead set against it. He thinks it's a waste, especially since some of the yokai in the book are pretty violent. But Natsume insists it's okay, because Sensei will protect him. Natsume makes a promise: if he ever dies, Nyanko Sensei can have the book. Nyanko Sensei reluctantly agrees and decides to teach Natsume how to return the names properly. As they start the process, Nyanko Sensei handles the tough, human-like yokai with ease, while Natsume successfully returns the name of the ghost-like yokai, Hishigaki. The moment the name is returned, Hishigaki's memories flood into Natsume's mind. He sees how Hishigaki first met Natsume's grandmother, Reiko, back when she was a teenager. The starving yokai spots a bun on a shrine and goes to grab it, only for Reiko to snatch it away. Reiko casually says the bun's not that great and the ones from Nanatsuji are much better. She then surprises Hishigaki by talking to her, despite being a human. Hishigaki is shocked that Reiko isn't scared of her and is even willing to play a game with her. Naturally, Reiko wins. Hishigaki, now her servant, is forced to write Reiko's name on a piece of paper. Hishigaki notices a scratch on her face. Reiko explains that someone threw a rock at her because she was considered creepy. She then tells Hishigaki that as her servant, she'll need to come when called. Hishigaki, though happy to have a friend, grows angry over the years and wishes to be free. Finally, when her name is returned, all Hishigaki wants to know is that Reiko is okay and no longer in pain. Natsume reassures her, saying that Reiko is fine now and lucky to have had a friend like Hishigaki. As Hishigaki fades away, Natsume is exhausted from the whole ordeal but stands firm in his decision to return the names. On his way home, Natsume still doesn't really like yokai. But then, he spots the store Reiko mentioned, Nanatsuji. He innocently mentions that the buns there are pretty good, and that's all it takes for Nyanko Sensei to charge toward the store like a kid in a candy shop. What would you do if you inherited a book that could control spirits? Would you return their names or keep the power for yourself? Let us know in the comments.